Hey guys, it is Ben, aka the Fuse Box, and I decided I wanted to do a stream this weekend, but I couldn't really think of anything specific to do the topic on. So instead of just kind of talking about anything in specific, I'm kind of leaving it open this time around. And also, I said I was going to start doing this, so I am officially opening up for anybody who wants to present their projects. If you've got a project coming up, something that you want to promote, it's about time I started doing that again. I haven't done that since the beginning of this channel, really. So, hang on. I'm an old man when it comes to this stuff. Hang on. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat. I just have to find the video. Ooh, lordy. Yeah. The biggest problem with having a new Twitter account is the fact that I'm not in any of the old groups I was in. So folks kind of have to find me organically this time, but I guess that's okay. Fresh start, But yeah. Well, today, let me see if I can bring up a little something to talk about for a second. God, I know what people are thinking. I should have had all this prepared beforehand, but I'm an off-the-cuff kind of guy. Yeah. Yeah, let me get a little fancy here. Yeah. So today, I rewatched Gladiator for the first time in years. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest with everybody. A lot of it went over my head when I was younger. But now that I've known more about Roman history, I gotta say it's really fun to watch it. Albeit, like with everything in my life, I have criticisms. Namely being, I think that Russell Crowe's performance in this movie may be a little overhyped. I'm not saying he was bad. I don't think he was bad. But I don't think he was, amazing. He barely had any real emotional range. The few times he gets emotional in it, I was not swayed. I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the pain. The flashback sequences are always fun, but still. What is up, Corey? Yes, indeed. I like Corey. Corey is an awesome artist. His work blows my mind. That's why I'm hoping to secure him for Outlaw Nights issue 3. But yeah, I'm just chilling like a villain, talking about my controversial take that I think that Russell Crowe's performance in Gladiator is overhyped. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't want anybody thinking, whoa, Ben's saying that Russell Crowe in Gladiator was bad. I shouldn't watch this movie anymore. Relax. Everybody should watch it. It's a great movie. Richard Harris is the best part for me, though. And honestly, rewatching it this time around, I feel way more sympathy for Joaquin Phoenix, aka Commodus. I really do. I mean, he just kind of got the short end of the stick on everything, and he really was kind of Kane. Yeah, he was. He was cool. I'm just saying he didn't have a lot of range. And I don't like that. I need some range. I need more play. You know, I want to see some emotion. The crying, yeah, all right. Yeah, he was okay crying. You know. But I expected more from Russell Crowe. But yeah, I feel for Commodus. Because I mean that guy, you know, upstaged by somebody else who was adopted, then cheated out of his inheritance. Now, yeah, I mean, it's probably not a good idea to suffocate your father to become emperor. Men need to at least be a little emotional. I'm not saying they need to be... I'm not saying that they need to fall apart every 5 seconds, but give me something here, man. Good lord. I have not watched Gladiator 2, and I never will. I can tell you that. Because even before all the bad reviews of it, just hearing that, what's-his-face was in it. That dude. What's that dude's name? Pedro Pascal. When I heard he was in it, I was like, nope. I am never watching anything with Pedro Pascal in it. That guy bugs me. He bugs me on a personal level, and he bugs me on a professional level. So that's my hot take. And I mean, you know, Denzel Washington's awesome, but I'm sorry, like, you lose me at the African emperor of Rome before anybody gets smart and talks about North Africa. North Africa is different from Central and Southern Africa. Those people are descended from the Canaanites. It's different. So I'm hoping that members of the Black Israelites come in and start an argument with me over this. It would be very fun. But yeah, I miss the days when movies were compelling and fun like this. Albeit, I will say, since I'm on the topic of movies I've just seen, I'm gonna say those people are liars. That is what I'm saying. Now I did watch another movie recently that everybody else has seen, but I didn't see it until like just the other day. And I am, of course, talking about, if I can stop being an old man. Let me see here. Right here. I saw Sonic the Hedgehog. I saw all three of them. And if I'm going to give my ratings here, I'm going to say Sonic 1 was okay. It would have been considered a bad movie about 20 years ago. But because of the state of things, I would say it's all right. It's not bad. And I mean, it had heart to it. And I appreciate that. I like, it's nice to see something, about like families and loving each other and no ridiculous like divisions and all that stuff. It's just good old fashioned warm-hearted family. Now, Sonic was the weakest part of the first movie because most of his little jokes and quips were just little internet memes that we've all know by heart. But it was like, oh yeah, he's cute. Eh. Sonic 2 was pretty good, I must say. It wasn't stellar, but it was good. It was much better than 1. I did not think that Idris Elba was going to be a good Knuckles, but he proved me wrong. I liked him as Knuckles. I thought he was funny. And Tails is cute, you know. When I was a little kid and like the cartoons with Sonic were on, I was big on Tails. Because I thought, you know, he's a cute little guy and he flies around with the little tails. You know, it's fun stuff. Sonic 3 was, like, really good, though. Sonic 3 actually, like, they actually got heavy at a couple of moments. And Jim Carrey was at its funniest in the third one, so. Yeah, it's a rare animal in that you've got 3 movies that get better with each one. That is super rare. Usually it's number 1 is the best, and then it kind of goes on a descending scale. And then you have those rare cases where it's like 2 is better than 1, but then 3 is horrible. This was like a ladder, went straight up. So I'm totally down for that. But yeah. I'm hoping, like, I have some optimism about movies in the future, but I think it's gonna be a little while before Hollywood starts catching up. If they're still around, that is, you know. Well, thank you, you know. I can't take all the credit because I didn't make Sonic, but it's pretty good. But I have hope. I have hope for the future. And I'm glad that, you know, this is the first time I can really say that in quite a few years because, you know, I used to love going to the movies. Movies were my thing. I went to film school, for crying out loud. I wanted to make movies in Hollywood. And then just seeing the little conveyor belt of crap they've been putting out, it just disheartened the hell out of me. I was like, and that was kind of part of why I stepped away from pursuing that goal. Was just, I'm like, what's the point? Like, they're just gonna have me making soulless garbage. But we're starting to get back. We're starting to get a little heart. We have to go through the Gladiator 2s for a while, but, you know, we're going to get some Sonics, I think. And I haven't seen the Mario movie, but a bunch of people love it. I have no idea. Jack Black is in it, and God rest his soul, he used to be really funny. I think it's time for Jack to, you know, cash out while he's ahead, you know. The house always wins, so you can't ride that forever. That's a metaphor, ladies and gentlemen. Was it? I mean, like, did you see it? Because I didn't see it. And I can't say the same for video games right now. Most video games are god-awful. It's, you know, you really got to search for a great new video game. Although, there is one series in particular that I have loved since I was a kid. And it's back. Hang on. Hang on. I'm doing my old man search. Hang on. The beauty of having background music is that there's technically no dead air. Okay, I mean, I'll take your word for it. But Elden Ring, I've heard a lot of people who love that. I have never played it. I think mostly because, like, games like... I thought of it as similar to being like Dark Souls, where it's like, it's not really much of a story. But, I mean, I get, like, there's a lot of gamers that are kind of sick of the cinematic aspect of video games. I, however, love good, well-written, tight stories in video games. Which is why I love Final Fantasy so dang much. I can see that. Mostly because I think Elden Ring was hard, and most games nowadays, they just hold your hand. But I'll tell you, Final Fantasy VII, and in particular the remakes, like... Now, my opinion has changed a little bit on the remakes. For those watching and who have rewatched, back in the day when I was doing the remakes of 7, I was so blown away by seeing characters that I love brought to the full screen with their voice actors and everything, that it kind of blinded me to being super, like, my critical eye. But now that I've had some time to kind of digest it, I do have a few issues, but I still love them. However, number one, with the first game of the 7 remake, it was way too linear. It was like you are set on one path. You've got no real wiggle room except for like a couple of parts in chapters where you get some side quests. But even then, it's like there's nothing to really explore or do. It's just like, okay, you do the main story, do the side quests, do the main story, you're done. I don't like that. One of the major reasons I disliked Final Fantasy 13 so much is because the biggest thing about Final Fantasy was, even though it was a set story, you had to kind of trigger it yourself. You had to figure out where to go next. And you could take time to stop and fight a bunch, train up your characters, all that. There really needs to be a return to the old school level grinding. I miss level grinding in Final Fantasy. Not enough of it. It's mostly like... It seems like you level up really easily in the modern ones. And even if you don't, it's like you don't really need to be that strong to fight certain bosses. And I don't, like back in the day, me and my best friend, when we played 7 and 8 and all that, we were grinders. And of course, both of us, it took us years to figure out that with Final Fantasy VIII, the game leveled up with you. So it actually made it harder when you leveled up. And we didn't put the pieces together until way too late. But yeah, with 7, I missed that grind. And, especially like in the remake, the level cap was like 50. And that's, I don't know. I mean, I kind of, I get the logic behind it in that it's like, oh, this is the first game of the trilogy, so, like, you're not going to get to level 100. I'm fine with that, but at the same time, I don't know, I wish that there had been more grinding aspects to it, but I still enjoyed it a lot. Rebirth blew my mind with the open world aspect, as well as just seeing those classic moments of the game stretched out and made three-dimensional. But there are still some problems. Number one being, if you haven't played it yet, what are you waiting for? At the end of like chapter 1, you're crossing the marshlands to the Mithril Mines. And if you played 7, you'll probably remember the fact that when you did that in the original game, you had to use a chocobo to escape this giant snake. Because if the snake caught you, it was going to destroy you. It was way too powerful. In Rebirth, when you fought the Midgar Sormer, well, you had to fight it. It was the first boss. And it was like a fraction of the size of the original. And it wasn't really that difficult. And the worst part was my main complaint about both games can be kind of summed up this way. Which is, we see Sephiroth way too much. Part of what was so cool about the original 7 was like how they built up the tension and the creepiness around Sephiroth's character. You had to build up. There was an intensity about it. It and especially the musical stings. Those were chilling. It was like Resident Evil chilling. In the remakes, Sephiroth appears so much that it has no impact. You don't get creeped out by him. You don't feel like nervous about him being there or whatever. Because he's always there. And the worst part is just the fact that like parts 1 and 2 of the remake, the final boss is Sephiroth for both. So it's like, okay, well, we can beat Sephiroth now. So what's the point of the full journey if we're just gonna, we can decimate him at, like, level 30? So, yeah, there's no impact to that. And then especially, in Rebirth, the ending fight in Rebirth, I totally lost my train of thought. Good lord. Ay. But yeah, in Rebirth. I was reborn in Rebirth. Final Fantasy 15 was... Final Fantasy 15, like, number one, it was delayed by, like, 10, 15 years. The original trailer that came out for that, Final Fantasy Versus 13, was really awesome. And they were boasting that this was going to be, like, the first rated M Final Fantasy game. It was going to have, like, all kinds of blood and mature themes. I was hyped for that. And then, somewhere along the line, they just completely reworked it. And then, the game itself, it kind of has... It has... I would say, like, it felt stunted. It felt like the story felt like it needed way more in between the beginning and the end. It needed to be beefed up. And it felt like the first few chapters, you get an open world experience, you can ride around, you can do whatever. You can pretty much almost get to like max level in those parts. It's like totally open world. But then once you get about midway through the story, it's just a straight shot to the end. And all the cool characters that they introduced in like Kingsglaive, most of them get killed off before you even meet them. So yeah, that part was a letdown. But I like the characters enough. It's just, yeah, it needed to be fleshed out. I actually liked the gameplay though. I thought it was fun. But that's just me. But yeah. Final Fantasy VII. Oh, well, I've mentioned this before. I hate how with these remakes they're trying to change the story up where it's like this is like the timeline has been altered and they're branching off into different timelines, and they really in Rebirth they went balls to the wall with that one because now there's 3 concurrent timelines happening that we're getting glimpses of. And it's like, okay, I don't need a timeline where Zack survives. And I don't need a timeline where Aerith survives. And all that junk. Like, what are you doing, guys? Just remake the original. And add all the cool extra stuff with, like, the cool extra characters and everything. Like, it's fine if you just follow the original model and flesh it out. You don't need to alter it to make it like, oh, well, see, this is different from 7. It's like, well, yeah. But, so, hopefully number 3 is going to be better. But, I mean, number 2, Rebirth was good. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm not saying any of these were bad. I'm just saying I have my nitpicks. And yeah, I really, I enjoyed a lot of the fun. I enjoyed a lot of the dance sequences and stuff just because they were funny. But, and actually, Rebirth made me like the character Yuffie, which is rare because, not rare, what am I saying? It made me like the character Yuffie, which is an achievement, because in 7 I thought she was the most annoying character in the whole thing, and I thought she was kind of worthless. And they made her one of my favorite characters in the Rebirth. So, props for that. But yeah, other than like Final Fantasy, I'm not super psyched about much of anything in the gaming world. I do, hang on. I keep having brain farts every 5 seconds. And I quit smoking weed, so this shouldn't be happening. Let me see. I was just thinking of a game, and then it completely slipped out of my head. Shit. Come on. Where on earth was that thing? What am I thinking of? I was thinking of some... Oh, okay, here we go. I am, of course, thinking about a game that I think everybody is worried about. Boy, there's no stories on this game at all, or nothing of real value. I am talking about... Come on, hurry up. Hurry it up. GTA 6. I'm nervous about this one. I'm nervous. Big thing about GTA is just it's all about irreverent satire. And if they're gonna follow through with the whole making it politically correct, it's gonna die. And I mean, they better not try to make it serious, because Grand Theft Auto is not known for seriousness. You want that, you do Red Dead Redemption, or you do LA Noire. You don't do that with Grand Theft Auto. I'm assuming that these two characters are on the front are going to be the playable characters. I mean, unless they go back to it being just one player. But I did like how in 5 you had 3 characters you could control and you just switch between them. Like, that was pretty neat. So I'm guessing that's might happen with these 2 characters. But yeah, like, Rockstar is being very close to the vest with this one. I have no idea what to expect, but I keep hearing people saying it's gonna be woke, and I keep hearing people saying, no, what are you talking about? It's not gonna be woke. It's anybody's guess. So I'm gonna pretty much do what I've been doing, and I'm gonna go ahead and just wait and see. We're gonna see what happens. Lordy, lordy. You know what? I just brought it up. I think it's time for us to talk about the game that I believe has the objectively best writing in any video game. Let me see. Let's see. I am, of course, talking about... I'm looking for a good picture. Hang on. Oh, that's a great one. What on earth? I don't care about this person's review. I'm giving my own review right now in all of my sloppy glory. Red Dead Redemption 2. That game had the best writing you could ever imagine. It was crafted like a very, very long Western. Particularly, you can definitely tell that they got a lot of their inspiration from the movie Unforgiven from the 90s. And that's a great choice. And so, yeah, I was blown away by, like, all of the characters felt real and three-dimensional, and you came to actually care about all of them. And the only character that annoyed me was the villain, Micah. And that's the thing. He was supposed to annoy you. He was supposed to get under your skin. It worked. Although, I think a lot of people probably don't like Dutch. But I like Dutch myself because I think he's a complex character. He doesn't... It's never just as simple as like, oh, well, he's good or he's evil. It's... You know, like... Dutch, I think the game does a great job of leaving it open to interpretation as to what Dutch is really thinking. And I think that's an awesome aspect. Because the thing about Dutch is he's always talking, but you never know what he's really thinking. And I just thought, oh, wow, like, that's the mark of interesting writing. I would say personality-wise, he's very much a cult leader. He sees himself as this great philosopher and like savior of like the downtrodden, when he's just kind of a ruthless killer. And he doesn't really admit it to himself. So in many ways, he is his own worst enemy. And also, all the members of the gang pretty much worship him. But the thing about it is, Arthur, our main character, as well as John Marston, slowly come to realize that this is all for his ego. He doesn't really care as much about the other gang members, although it could be argued that he did care about them, and that slowly as the events of the game play out, as the law is catching up to them, and as things are getting more desperate, that he's losing his grip on his sanity, and therefore, like, that's why he's starting to become more callous, because they've been losing so many members of the gang that it's like almost like a survival mechanism. But yeah, he starts off the game giving this speech to everybody like, oh, we lost some people, and if I could throw myself in the ground in their stead, I would do it. And you come to recognize in the third act of the game especially, he doesn't mean that one bit. It's all about his ego. And Arthur's transformation as a character is so well done. The fact that, he starts off being a thug and being cold and ruthless, and then he starts to realize, especially after he gets sick, just like how he hasn't been focusing on the important aspects of life, and he's got to kind of make up for that. Well done. Now, I would agree with a lot of critics that the gameplay of Red Dead 2 is a little too easy at times. There's not really a challenge. Every single fight is exactly the same as the last. It's, oh no, this group of people that were against us come, and then 10 million guys with guns come out, and you gotta just shoot them all. There's no real like boss fights, and there's really no like clever tricks or traps, or you know what I mean, like how a lot of games will do like special things you have to do in the middle of a fight or something in order to win, because otherwise you're going to get killed. They don't really do anything clever. They just kind of keep it very straightforward. Okay, bunch of guys run in, quick, take cover, shoot them in the head. Okay, is that all of them? Okay, we're done. Time for the cutscene. So yeah, but at the same time, the world of Red Dead 2 is so immersive that you can kind of overlook that. Mainly just from having fun exploring, because it's such a big map. And I think GTA 5 kind of had that going for it too, but it wasn't as interesting in my opinion. It was, what is it? You go around LA, and then like parts of the boonies up north. And that's kind of it. You can get cool vehicles. You can fly them or drive them. You can rob a convenience store. You can only rob the bank during a mission. That bugs me. If I'm going to be immersed in this kind of thing, I want to be able to steal a bunch of money. I don't want to just steal $20. It's ridiculous. Of course, in my opinion, the best Grand Theft Auto game will always be San Andreas, because of how customizable your character was, how big the map was, all the little secret things you could do, little Easter eggs that they never really tell you about in the beginning. You gotta kind of figure it out. San Andreas deserves to be remastered. Unfortunately, there's never really going to be any kind of sequel or anything like that to San Andreas, because I'm pretty sure the lead actor who played CJ, I think he felt like he was screwed over by Rockstar in the royalty department. So we're never going to see him come back. And that's sad, but, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's better that it's just kind of a one-off. But yeah. So, from what I can tell, we're getting at about the 40-minute mark. And I think most folks are probably a little too busy tonight to pop on in. But that's okay. I am gonna try to do this again. I might try it again tomorrow. Who knows? Either tomorrow or Monday. But yes, if you have a project that you want to share, that you want to talk about, that you need backers, hit me up on my Twitter account at Fusebox7. And also, you can just, if you're on Facebook, look up Ben Fuselier. Or you can send me a message right here on YouTube. Either way, I'll be happy to host you and to look over your project, ask you some questions. I am far more focused on story elements than I am on much of anything else, although artwork is big for me. But yeah, I care more about how well developed your story is. And if anybody likes, if you want me to review your comic, I would happily do so, because I love to give constructive criticism, as you could probably tell. I mean, I'm doing this off the cuff right now, and it's been a hot minute since I've done this, so I'm kind of stumbling over myself today. But I promise, look at any of my previous reviews on this channel. I've done reviews for Lady Alchemy's book. I did a review for a book by a buddy of mine here in New Orleans. What was that? God. Oh, God, it's been so long, I can't even remember the name. It had Jean Lafitte in it, and he was leading a team of monster hunters in New Orleans. This is embarrassing that I can't remember the name, but I've got it on my channel. And I also reviewed Raging Golden Eagle's book, Blade Devil, I believe it was. Was that it? It was Blade Devil? Yes. Yeah, so look at any of those reviews and you'll see what I mean. I'm not a jerk. I'm not gonna, oh yeah, this book sucks. I don't do that. It's I'm gonna point out what works and what doesn't work, and what you could possibly do to remedy whatever doesn't work, because this is a process. I mean, that's writing in general. You need other people who are you need a third party to come in and look at it and determine, help you see things that you yourself would not have noticed. And if anybody wants to review my book, Outlaw Nights, you are more than welcome to, because I need constructive criticism. Speaking of which, let me pull up a little something something. Let me see. Hang on. God. I hate the whole dead air thing. Let's see. Speaking of which, the email list for Outlaw Nights, Genesis of a Renegade Part 2 is now live. This time around, we are pulling out all the stops, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing Fund My Comic, we are doing Indiegogo, and we are doing Kickstarter. We're hitting the trifecta. I want this puppy to get under as many eyes as possible. So, click on this email list right here. Hold on, let me see if I can put this in the chat. Probably not. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? Oh, of course, Bancroft is streaming. That explains a lot. Let me see here. All right. I have put the link to my project right here in the chat. So, hold on. Well, I don't know if folks watching this. If you're watching this on Twitter, I have no idea how to do that. I have no idea. But go to Indiegogo, go to the search bar, type in Outlaw Knights, Genesis of a Renegade, Part 2. Or click on my Twitter page, because I advertise that thing so much on my Twitter that I've kind of started using it as a trolling device. I'm trying to troll people into backing. And also, I would say, go to Indiegogo as well. Look for Outlaw Knights Genesis of a Renegade Part 1. Well, you know what? I better do that too. Hold on. Hang on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right here. So, we have got the Second Chance campaign for Outlaw Knights, Genesis of a Renegade, Part 1. And we are up to $810, which is freaking awesome. 25 pages of non-stop action in the space age. Space pirates, guns, some of that old school Western flavor mixed with old school pirate dynamics, mixed with cyberpunk, mixed with heists, mixed with you. You're gonna love it, I promise. Or if you don't love it, hell, I mean, tell me why, because I need to know. But yeah, this is gonna be remaining live. We're gonna be launching issue 2 on May 1st. Basically, if you want to get issue 1 when we do the campaigns for 2, that's fine. We're gonna have bundled tiers where you get 1 and 2. But I'm not going to be doing a hard copy of 1 on those campaigns. I'm saving those solely for this one. So if you just want issue 1 by itself first, back this campaign. If you want to get it bundled with issue 2, get on it May 1st. That's when you want to get this thing going. And yeah, and I am also working on we are about 99% done with issue 2. And so, like, we only got a couple pages left that we're working on. Once those are done, this baby is going to be ready to go. And we're going to be done by the time May 1st hits. So, however, I am going to be waiting till the campaign concludes when the funds come to me, so that I can actually pay to have them printed and shipped to me. And then immediately I will be mailing those out. So yeah, there's no wait time for this. There's no crazy goal. You're getting your books. This is a storefront. And I'm gonna be working on issue 3 later on in this year. So we got good things ahead. Let us make 2025 The Year of the Outlaw. And as always, I am your host, Ben, aka the Fusebox. You can find me on Twitter at Fusebox7. You can also find me on Instagram at Outlaw Nights. And you can find me on Facebook under my real name, Ben Fuselier, Fuselier. If you like anything I had to say, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Be sure to hit that bell so you get notifications, because this is a very small channel, so we get buried. So if you want to catch up with us, hit that bell. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody who loves to listen to sassy goofballs from uptown New Orleans. Thank you so much for joining me once again, ladies and gentlemen, and I will talk to you all later.